Hi, this is Ashley Bowling, and I'm going to be talking about what I did for my research project for the spring 2019 semester. So, my research question for the project was, what are the effects of the inclusion of moderate to severe disabilities in the general education classroom? I chose this topic because I wanted to know more about the effects of inclusion in regards to students with more severe disabilities. There seems to be more information out there in regards to students with not as well known disabilities, and I wanted to find out more information on the opinions of teachers and parents related to the issue. And I think it's important to know whether inclusion is effective so we can um, better prepare our students and help them to have a better outcome and success. So, one of the first parts of the research that I did would be the literature review. And for that, I researched the academic effects, the social effects, parent opinions, and also teacher opinions. Um, there was various ideas about inclusion that I found when I was researching for my literature review. I first researched the academic effects. McDonald was one of the um, people that I um, read about, and he focused on peer tutoring and did tests related to peer tutoring with students who have moderate to severe disabilities. He concluded that peer tutoring improved the scores of both students with and without disabilities. So that study was pretty interesting. And there was a study done by Alcorani and Gutt, if I'm pronouncing the name correctly. They focused on math and reading at 16 different schools. The results for them showed that students with special needs improved when placed in the general education classroom environment. And another expert that I looked at, his name was Cushing, and he evaluated performance of schools as a whole, and he used something called the Program Quality Measurement Tool. He concluded at the end of his study that the schools participated in inclusion received higher scores than the schools that did not participate in inclusion for students with moderate to severe disabilities. And even though several experts saw benefits, um, there was an expert, his name was Evans, and he suggested that general education teachers lacked the necessary training to be able to teach students with special needs. He said that 64% of general education teachers who participated in inclusions said that they needed more training in professional development. I thought that was a pretty high number, and that's shocking that there's so many general education teachers out there that do need that extra help. And I think it would be beneficial for general education teachers, even if they don't have an inclusive classroom, to receive more professional development just to help their students with varying needs. And the next topic that I researched was the social effects of inclusion of students with severe and moderate disabilities. The studies that I found related to the social aspects were mostly positive. Several of the experts noted that students with and without disabilities were more engaged in the classroom, and they seemed to communicate more with the other students and the teachers when they were included. So that was good, and it was really interesting to see what they had to say about the social effects. The next topic that I talked about were the parental opinions, and they seem to depend on the severity of the child's disability. Some parents believe that their child needs more special care that couldn't be offered in a general education setting. They also worried about how other students would treat their child. They were worried that maybe their child would be bullied. It was surprising that only 25.2% of parents in one of the studies strongly agreed on full inclusion of kids with special needs. Alright, so the next topic was teacher opinions. And most of the experts that I read about noted that general education teachers may lack the training needed to teach students with severe disabilities in an inclusive setting. One expert interviewed many teachers and principals that practice inclusion, and most of them noted that their greatest successes happened when they collaborated with one another, and they performed a lot of interviews and surveys and group interviews to talk to principals and teachers about it. And they also pointed out the stress and of including students with severe disabilities, and said that they sometimes struggled with differentiating for the needs of all the students in their classrooms, because a lot of times they have varying needs. They also said that they wanted more opportunities for development. Alright, now I'm going to talk about the methods and what I did for my research study. For my study, I gave out surveys to participants at a pretty large elementary school in East Tennessee. There were 15 special education teachers given the survey, 15 general education teachers, 14 parents from a kindergarten through second grade CDC room, and 18 parents from a third grade general education classroom. But 2 of the parents did not return their survey, so only 16 of the responses were included. The Likert scale was the type of survey that I used, and I used 12 questions. Well, they're more like statements, not questions. And they responded from 0 to 5. 0 would be if they strongly disagreed, and 5 would be if they strongly agreed with the statement. Some threats to validity of my project probably would be teacher bias and dishonesty, but I encourage everybody that participated to be truthful and not to talk to anybody about the survey. Alright, and that occurred over a period of 2 weeks. So the results of my project showed that 73% of special educators were in favor of inclusion, 46% of general educators were in favor of inclusion, 71% of special education parents were in favor, and 58% of general education parents were in favor of inclusion. In all, 61% of participants agreed with inclusion, 27% disagreed, and 12% were neutral. I'll read you the most agreed upon question, and that was: parents of students with moderate to severe disabilities tend to want their child in an inclusion classroom. And most of the participants agreed that was that they strongly agreed with that one. And a lot of the participants were in favor of peer tutoring, and I wasn't really surprised with that one. And now I'm going to talk about the conclusion. All in all, it was a really interesting experience, and I think I learned so much about inclusion, and it was good to get different opinions from parents, teachers, and parents and teachers. In the future, it would be interesting to survey more schools and use participants from middle and high schools. That would give me more answers, and it would make my study more accurate in the future. And it would also be beneficial to actually do tests on the students, and maybe for 6 weeks see how they progress in an inclusion classroom. But that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching.